landing safety officer. Slot means he's on the final circuit. He's moving upwind and ahead of us on what we call the designated flying course. Stays on that course for 15 seconds and then turns back downwind for his final approach. Here he comes. 2.8, this is good. That's 2.8 thousand meters. Operator cockpit wants to tell him his wheels and tail go down. The LSO's team will be checking that visually and wave him off if there's a problem, but they seem happy enough. Lined up with the landing site. That's the large structure on the right. That was a pretty close call. Little left couldn't bring him in with the birds over the flight deck. It's very dangerous for the aircraft. It's not too healthy for the birds either. It won't worry the pilot. He'll have done plenty of practice wave-offs. He'll just pick up the circuit and have another go. See them from here, but the landing site has got a system of lights that tell the pilot he's online and at the right height. It would be a lot trickier without them. Birds made it a little bit more exciting than usual, but that's the way it is on carriers. We always expect the unexpected. Right, in about 3 minutes or so, we're due to launch a Phantom from one of the flight deck catapults further towards the bow. That's towards the opposite end from where your helicopter landed. So, if you haven't seen a Phantom launch yet, make your way in that direction, keeping the island on your right, and you'll be good and ready. Take some time to enjoy the fine collection of aircraft assembled on deck as you go. If you have seen the Phantom launch, you can start your tour of the island whenever you're ready. You can see the entrance to the island signpost. Phantom launch due in 2 minutes.
Secure broadcast stations. Aircrew, man the Phantom.
This is a McDonnell Douglas Phantom, 30 tons of frontline fighter. With a top speed of 1,400 miles per hour, more than twice the speed of sound, and a rate of climb of 32,000 feet per minute, the Phantom can carry 4 Stalin and 4 Sidewinder air-to-air missiles. Its job? To protect the fleet and escort the buccaneers on their bombing sorties. And it's about to be made ready for a combat air patrol now. If necessary, a Phantom can be scrambled in less than 10 minutes, raised from below decks to the flight deck, wings unfolded, and away she will go. Of course, getting that 30 tons of metal airborne is easier said than done. On land, the Phantom requires 2,000 meters of runway. On board, we have only 250 meters of flight deck, which is why we use an immensely powerful catapult. This catapult accelerates the aircraft to its takeoff speed of 150 miles per hour in less than 2 seconds over a distance of only 75 meters. Without it, well, let's just say we have one very wet Phantom. The man in charge of loading the catapult is the flight deck officer, the FDO. He's standing to the front of the aircraft, and the 2 men under the aircraft are his flight deck engineers. They're nicknamed Badgers, and you can see why, wearing those black and white waistcoats. There's so much noise on the flight deck that virtually the whole operation is carried out by a series of well-drilled hand signals, but it all runs like a well-oiled machine. It has to. The plane guard helicopter is in position. The Phantom pilot has received his briefing and been given his routing. In a few moments, you'll see the jet blast deflectors to the rear of the aircraft rise. They protect personnel and the flight deck itself from the heat and force of the engines. Up they go. The pilot carries out his final checks. He sets the tailplane to takeoff position. The Badgers fix the catapult drops to the underside of the aircraft. The catapult is tensioned. The pilot checks with Flyco, the flight controller. The pilot signals to Flyco. The FDO signals the OK. And off she goes.
Cleared the air move arrival signal to Yeovilton, RS. Thank you.
The radio operator has just sent a signal to RNAS Yeovilton to confirm the arrival of your helicopter on board.
How many copies of this signal do we need?
Which one's that?
The one from Tide Spring confirming the rendezvous for RAS at 19:30.
Ah, yes, we'll need 3, please.
If you look at the clock, by the way, you'll see a piece of history, the 2 segments marked in red. In the old days, when signals were very busy, there had to be a way for emergency and distress signals to get through. The way we used to do it was every half hour, at the time it was marked on the clock there, we'd stop everything and listen. Now we have a special frequency, 500 kilohertz, which is and is recognised all over the world. Bit of an improvement. We'll move on now, up to the bridge. Would you please go through the door to the left, then straight ahead and up the stairs.
Now, the senior officer here is not, as you might have expected, the captain. It's the officer of the watch. During operations and most exercises, the captain is actually in the operations room because that's where he can get the quickest and most complete access to information.
Wheelhouse, bridge. Quartermaster on the wheel.
Quartermaster on the wheel, sir. Course to steer 240 by Alpha Gyro. All engines overhead. 160 revolutions set.
Very good.
The quartermaster is actually turning the wheel to change the ship's direction under the orders of the officer of the watch, of course. In fact, the quartermaster is below deck, so he can't see where he's going. He steers by compass.
Midship? Wheel midship, sir.
Yeah, 254.
Steer 254. Course 254 by
The ship is on a scheduled course with scheduled destinations, but for each wave of launches and recoveries, she has to turn away from her plotted course to head into the wind, so that aircraft have enough headwind for takeoff and landing. We're just turning into the wind again for the next launches. You might remember I said earlier that we work flat out to minimise the time spent steaming straight into the wind, partly because of keeping to our schedule, but also, from an enemy point of view, the ship's a bit of a sitting duck during that time.
Signal deck, bridge. Hoist flag, Foxtrot, shapes. Yeoman, signal ships in company, we're steering 254 for serial 4.
Everything's ready to go now, out on the flight deck. There's a Buccaneer just about to launch from the bowcat. There it goes. So that's serial 14 well underway.
Bridge, Flyer. I have 32 knots over deck, but wind speed is decreasing.
Aye, aye, sir. I'll increase speed by 2 knots.
If you would continue now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go on and have a look at the ops room. And at the centre of it all, as you can see, is the captain, keeping tabs on the whole evolution. The little room on the right is the ops office, where the flying programmes are actually decided on, how many aircraft will be flying and when. In the ops room here, the team are wearing their anti-flash gear as part of a war at sea exercise. As you heard, among many other things, they're keeping a watch on a surface plot, checking the positions of other shipping. This is vital, and the situation can change very fast. Occasionally, the plotters can even temporarily lose track of things. It's known as losing the plot.
We're getting quite tight now for our rendezvous with the tanker, sir.
Thank you, Ops. It's what time? 1830, 1930?
It's 1930, sir.
You might remember I mentioned the problem of the carrier keeping to schedule. Well, this is a case in point. There's a scheduled time for refueling, taking on more stores, and so on. Oh, RAS, by the way, is replenishment at sea. As you heard, we're getting a bit short of time now, so the pressure's on to keep everything tight. That's why that's a smoke flare gone off. That'll be the record. The inspectors I mentioned.
For exercise, fire, in 02 Lima 1 Optimum. Fire and emergency party must
Better move you on rather quick. Through the door to your left, please.
Stand fast. Ventilation party mustering 5 miles flat.
As soon as we finish respotting and arranging for the next serial, I'll strike down 036. HCB 036 is US, so I'll strike that down as soon as we finish respotting and arranging. That's it. 809, provide a brakeman pronto.
There are two functions to look at here. ACR on the left and the line office on the right. I'll explain the line office in a minute. ACR on the left is the aircraft control room.
So you'll be arranging 034 as a replacement, right?
Right.
Before you start respotting?
At the same time.
The ACRO here is an aircraft juggler. There are a million things that can go wrong with a complex modern aircraft, and you can't choose when it happens. If it's in the middle of the action, somebody has to work out what to do about it. This is the man.
HCB, I'll now be striking down 030 as well as 036. When we start ranging, 034 can come straight on, yes?
Hold on.
Well done, sir.
Yes, I'll line it up first, 022 to follow on.
Thank you.
He needs to know where every aircraft on the ship is at any time, on the flight deck, in the hangars, and where they're going next. Even this chap can't keep all that lot in his head. That's the reason for the scale model of the flight deck and the hangars. The model aircraft can be turned over, so green side means it's serviceable, red it's not. Oh, by the way, respotting. Spotting is positioning the aircraft on deck. Respotting is moving them to a new position, ready for relaunch, for instance. Now, if we just have a look out on the flight deck, do you remember I said the aircraft are launched and recovered in waves? Each serial normally consists of a group of launches followed by a group of recoveries. Between serials, the carrier can turn out of wind and get back on course for her destination. As you can see, we've finished the last group of launches, and now we're into recoveries. That's a Buccaneer we've just recovered. Once these recoveries are all finished, that'll be the end of this serial. Then there'll be a pause before the next serial starts with another wave of launches. Those are the launches that the ACRO is planning ahead for at the moment. And another buck, hook, wheels and flaps down. Oh, and he's missed the wires. Full power to get off again, and he's clear. But he's not going to be popular. A bolter, that's what we call it when an aircraft misses the wires like that, means he has to go around for another circuit, which takes a couple of minutes, and minutes count. To your right, the line office, or aircraft maintenance control room, is where the aircraft are booked in and out. Every aircraft has a logbook. It's sort of a full service history, very full. It's called the 700 because that's the number of the form it's written on.
That snag with the angle of attack indicator has shown up again.
Damn it. I hate those intermittents. I think we'll have to start working that through.
The aircraft, or any of its millions of components throughout its life, goes down in the 700. And somebody has to take responsibility for each thing that happens. So every entry is signed for. The person doing a repair signs to say it's been done. The person checking it signs to say it's been checked. 700 soon runs into many volumes. And then, here in the line office, the pilot signs to say he's accepting the aircraft as specified. And when he returns, he reports any problems and signs for it.
We had a bit of a problem with the radar as well, the game's down.
Serious?
The aircraft just recovered are being
we can
signed
carry
by
it,
their
we want
pilots. The recovery is still continuing, of course.
ACR, Flyco, will you be ranging those helos as soon as we finish respotting?
And funnily enough, the HUD's looking slightly fuzzy. Yes, sir.
I think we'll move on before things get a bit too colourful in here. Through the next door and wait in the passageway for a green light. Right, ladies and gentlemen, just while we're waiting for the green light to let us know the next area is clear for us to go through, I'd like to just mention the things you're not seeing. You're getting an idea of what goes on in the island here and on the flight deck, obviously, but that's just the most visible part. All of it is made possible by well over 2,500 other people who work on this ship, although you can't see any sign of them right now.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, sorry. I didn't notice you there.
Famous last words. That's one of the lads checking the pressure in the saltwater fire main. He's part of the 24-hour emergency team. Damage control of all sorts is vital on board. You can see various damage control equipment attached to bulkheads and so on. You can see some timbers. They're used for shoring up because timber is strong but flexible. As I was saying, at this very moment, on 10 decks below where you're standing, there are hundreds of people working in hangars, boiler rooms, offices, workshops. There are people cooking, cleaning, making shoes, eating, writing letters home, planning entertainments, filling teeth, painting, carrying out repairs and maintenance, and sleeping, ready to come on watch later today or tonight. Because the carrier lives a 24-hour life. She operates at all times in all weathers. Right, we can carry on. Through the door ahead, please.
Stand by for a briefing at 1500 Alpha. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time now is 1500 Alpha. Briefing for the 1600 fixed-wing launch comprising 1 Gannet Anyface 4-3, 4 Phantoms for medium-level AI, 4 Buccaneers for a surface search and attack on the splash target. Sunset at 2030, moonset 2320. Diversion Yeovilton. Plane guard will be provided by the SAR flight for day flying. Cleopatra will be the plane guard at night.
This is the largest of 4 briefing rooms. It is used as a central briefing for fixed-wing crews, so that launch, recovery and details of the weather are only given once to several crews, which ensures that everybody knows what everybody else is doing.
Case 1 recoveries, Charlie times on the board, with Case 3 procedures in the unlikely event that we need them.
This is also the time to synchronise watches to make sure that everybody's working to the same time. Charlie time, by the way, is the time the aircraft is due to be recovered. The wheels must hit the deck within 15 seconds either way of Charlie time. One more indication of how tight the scheduling is.
Any questions? No? Very good. Break up your individual briefings.
And we'll move on again now.
Chef, back with us again?
That's right, sir. Like was a bit too peaceful on shore.
Well, welcome back.
Oh, thank you, sir.
The aircrew refreshment bar. There are 7 galleys on board. This one is for aircrew who miss out on meal times in their mess. They can get a reasonable snack to keep them going.
Oh, not till about 30.
On the subject of food, here, the Ark Royal chefs prepare about 450 tons of bread, 225 tons of meat, 34 miles of sausages.
How about one of my special omelets?
Pound, 310 on the US.
Roger, Blue 3. I have you on my gadget. Your pigeon 09712.
Can I have your attention, ladies and gentlemen? I'll explain where we are shortly, but right now we've got a Phantom pilot who has a problem.
Yes, I know.
He can't deploy his tail hook, which means he can't use the arrestor wires, of course.
Roger.
The aircraft can't land without its hook down. The deck's far too short, and there's nowhere else to go, so the emergency procedures have to work. Otherwise, we're facing a wrecked aircraft, crew dead or injured, deck unavailable for other aircraft to land.
You hear that? Prepare for a precautionary landing on the flight deck. Assume NBCD State 2, condition Yankee. Close all watertight doors, Juliet section to the stern. 2 deck and above.
Out on the flight deck, they're about to rig the emergency barrier, which is, I'll try and show you what... Yes, the crew are there, you can see. They're heading for the stowage lockers to get the barrier and fit it to the hydraulic arms that will raise it into position.
Blue 3, Flyco is rigging the barrier for you.
And there's a second element as well, an energy-absorbing pack. You can see it being positioned by the forklift there. Emergency crews and SAR helos standing by, of course. And the rest of the crew all clear the deck.
No smoking or naked lights throughout the ship. Air emergency party muster abreast the ACR. Ship's emergency party muster in Bravo hangar. Ventilation party muster in 4 Mike flat.
The pilot, of course, will keep trying to deploy the hook. If he can't, everything's ready. I'll keep you posted, of course, on what happens. Now, this is ADR, the Aircraft Direction Room. and it's the contact point for each aircraft throughout its mission, except in the immediate vicinity of the carrier when FlyCode takes over. This is the focal point for all radio signals, just as the MCO is for all non-radio signals. Yes, here goes, and yes, got him. So, emergency over.